welcome everybody to Takeaway Thursday here to our Triple F show. We are excited to recap the whole month of September show of faith, family, and finance today. Want to thank the team, Virgil and Sherry in the background, and we're going to jump right into it here. If you are chiming in live or you're catching this on replay, make sure that you subscribe to all of our platform and social media, not only to our Facebook page, to our DannyCouture.com page. Then also we have a free gift book for you as well. And so we are definitely excited to kick the show off. We have Mindy Chung for the Faith show in the first week of September, and we're excited to jump in and take away from Mindy's shares and her work and her walk. We can go to the next slide. So here's the takeaway number one. Just because we accept Jesus into our heart, it doesn't mean that everything is magical. And we tend to wonder if we really don't understand who we are, identity-wise. And Mindy was so profound in sharing this because, it takes work. It really takes a commitment to grow in the faith, and just knowing or accepting your faith or accepting Jesus as your Savior doesn't. Yes, we are saved, but it requires us to really get connected to a greater capacity so that we can truly understand. I liken it to as Holy Spirit is downloading to me to share with you all, is it's kind of like when you get into the water, right? Like you get into the water and the current, especially in the water here in Hawaii, you get in one area, then the current can take you. Next thing you know, you're like 2 blocks down the street from the water, right? They're like you have drifted away. And some of us were like that, right? As we go about our daily routine and life, we get so busy that we drift away from our purpose, from our calling, or whatever God's instilled in us to do, and then also growing in our faith as well. So that is our first takeaway here, and we'll go here to the next one.
Faith for me was so important because it rooted me to who God was. It really anchored me to him. It grew my faith. It grew my, anytime I got a chance to see God moving, anytime I got a chance to experience him, knowing something that I had never, ever shared out loud, and yet he was ministering to me because of that, my confidence in who the Lord was just, it was just like out of control, and I love what it says, that it's complete trust or confidence in someone or something, because that's what rooted me when I was away from home and I'm feeling, like, how do I do this without my family? When I'm, when my friends are saying, are you still doing that God thing? And faith is what kept me anchored to the Lord. Faith is what kept my belief growing, because I would see as he was partnering with me and asking me to partner with him, he's like, hey, look, and I would, like, it would exponentially just blow my mind how much he desired to be in relationship with me, how much he desired to have me know who he was. And so I feel like faith is everything. Like, I'm not sure how people do it without it. It's life can be hard enough with it, but for me, yeah, faith is everything.
Wow. That was an awesome video there. And yes, I mean, as Mindy shared, it allows us to learn to take away from her perspective of how she has grown in her faith. It's not an overnight sensation. It's not like a lottery ticket where you get lucky, but it really takes work. And when you work at it, your faith level and your belief level grows layers and layers and layers. And what happens is you get to anchor to that, to a belief level that's way greater than you, right? And ultimately to to the Father Himself. And so it is so good to be able to grow in that space. When you're not growing or believing in developing a faith base, it's easy to get pulled in different angles or different directions or different things that may not be in alignment with your faith or your belief or your calling, right? But when you are walking in it and you are purposely building your faith, man, it is amazing how doors that no man can open will open, how God brings people into your path to help you unlock certain things or elevate you to a greater capacity. And so that's the encouragement, is that we work on our faith. I think we seek education as a way out. And unfortunately, at some point, education, helps us to go far, but education without faith, man, those two together is like hydraulics. You're on a high octane. It allows you to conquer a large amount of success in a short period of time. I guess you get to leverage and travel the path of least resistance in that way. So we can go to the next slide. Faith takeaway number 3, a lack of faith comes from a place of really not knowing. That is so true. I can definitely relate to that. The solution for the lack of faith is worship the Lord and be intentional about how you build your relationship with God. And this is pointers from Miss Chung. And so, as you all know, Triple F is, look, we're not here to say, hey, follow us. We're here to provide practical ways to empower you, right? Like, so if these are things that you are already doing, man, bless your heart, continue to keep going and be a light for others as well. But if you really listening to this, that you desire to grow in the Lord, I pray and hope that the seeds we're planting today allow to elevate your game to a whole different level. And as Mindy share here, is the lack of faith comes from the place of really not knowing. Not knowing means we're complacent. We don't even try to learn to understand faith, and so many people are lost in this world and truly don't see themselves how God sees them. Could you imagine if we could see ourselves how He sees us? The challenge is we see ourselves how we see ourselves from our own lenses. But we serve a God that is so big, so bigger than any trouble you having, so big than any struggle you may be encountering, any addiction you may be going through, so bigger than that. So that if we seek His wisdom, then everything else will be added to us in the process, right? Mindy say worshiping the Lord, just playing worship music allows her to have a greater connection, allow her to be able to hear the voice of the Lord at a greater capacity. And being intentional, I think, is so huge. Understanding the power of discipleship today, man, it's the same intention. I share with people, it's like, the same intention that we get up and go to work. If you're working a job or you're building a business, it's the same intention. Why not apply that to your faith, to the growth of your faith, and not apply 100% to everything else or 95% to everything else and then 5% to your faith. There's a wheel of spokes in life. I'm not going to sit here and go through all 6 wheels of spokes, but faith is one of those spokes that we want to apply, right? Like, so if you think about the 6th wheel, if one of those spokes are neglected, right? Like, try neglecting your faith and see what happens to other area. You see what I'm saying, right? You getting it? Are you picking up what I'm dropping, right? Try neglecting your faith, and see what other areas. Here's a challenge. When we neglect our faith, we may not see the challenges we're encountering because we're blind to it. And so that's the encouragement that we want. We want to plant that seed in people to be able to walk in faith. It gives us a greater awareness and understanding and favor on all of our lives. So we're excited. Hope you took something away there from Mindy's share. We'll go to point number 4. Yes, I love this one right here. Look, God doesn't respond to a need, right? He doesn't. Like, every one of us have needs, right? Doesn't even respond to me. He responds to a seed. Sow a seed, right? It's so amazing. You know, the parable of a farmer is so used as an illustration throughout the whole entire Bible. I just finished reading Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and just, you know, it's so profound. You just hear, you know, hey, we reap what we sow, right? And then we got to plant seeds, cultivate, and then we harvest. And it's just amazing, right? It's like, if you really get to understand this concept, that God doesn't respond to a need. Like, we all have needs, right? And He blesses us. He opens doors for us. He have favor over us. He you know, give us stuff that we don't deserve at times. But if you really want to go from a survival mode to living in abundance, man, sow seeds, right? And sowing seeds can be different in many ways. Sowing seeds can be, it doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be of money. It could be of service. It could be of time. It could be of wisdom, right? You're sowing a seed, meaning you're giving without having to think of return. How can I give to you? Right? I believe it's the book of Matthew or Mark. He said, well, you know, the Pharisees question him, why are you helping all of this broken people, right? And they were questioning him on that. He said, well, you know, does the doctor go to help people who are healed? No, the doctor go to help people who are hurt, who are in need, right? And so, guys, sow the seed. Right? Like, you know, whether, and you may be asking, well, where do I sow seeds at? Look, start with your neighbors, start with your family. You can sow a seed. Look, I remember starting sowing. I said, look, I can't let the world run my family. I got to take, as a man, I got to take charge of my household, right? And so many times people say, well, I don't really have a blueprint. I used to say that. There's really no blueprint to life. There's no really blueprint to marriage. There's no blueprint to raising children. That is a bunch of baloney. The Bible is a blueprint to everything. Every personal development book that's ever written, I believe, comes from the Bible. I mean, it's just so profound in that way. But if we're not taught that educationally, right, in our educational system, most people won't be aware of it. So hopefully Triple F will plant that seed in you, that you go out and sow seed, starting in your own home to your neighbors, right? You don't have to go very far. You can start with your neighbor. How does the seed sow, right? Like, hey, look, you know, maybe prayer evangelism, just walking around the block, praying, speaking peace and blessings over them and things of that nature. You can give of your time. You can give monetarily, right? As you tithe every Sunday, you tithe, and then you can sow a seed to somebody, you know, and or maybe go ask the pastor, is there any need that needs to be met here at the church, not only just financially, but something else. Guys, there's opportunities are endless out there to sow a seed. So this is what happened. When you sow seed, every seed has to be cultivated, and every seed it will bear fruit. It will bear fruit. Every seed that you fertily put from here onto the ground, right, into work, into play, it will come to life. It will come to fruition. We'll go to the last one. Takeaway number 5, don't compare yourself to others. Guys, this one handicaps so many people. I used to be that guy, unconsciously. I think just the world we live in today, we get so caught up in comparing ourselves to the Joneses, right? Which is the Joneses, like our neighbor next door. It's kind of a saying. But man, I just decided to stop wasting time. And the only person that I want to compare myself to is the man upstairs, excuse me. And I know that I will never be compared. And so my strive or my focus is that I just stay in alignment, right? In connection, in connecting up on a daily basis to make sure that I am in alignment and walking in that way. And then I get to go out and display his love throughout everywhere I go, whether I'm in the marketplace, I'm in ministry, or wherever it may be. I mean, right in my spheres of influence, I get to display the love of the Father everywhere I go. But man, it's time out for comparison. It's time out for playing small. It's really time to walk in how God sees us, in our true identity. Right? Yes, your identity in God is He made you to be prosperous, to be successful, to be bright, to be smart, and it's all there. There's so many stories I can share, testimonies of people that I've encountered in the marketplace that's really pretty awesome, life-changing. All right, I believe that is the ending of our faith part, and we'll go here to family.
Seen a tremendous change in you, because I agree that early on it was kind of like, well, I'm left to the parenting, and you really realize why God made it so that there's a man and a wife, and there's these two very different people raising these kids, because they're both the wife and the husband bring such value to parenting, to child raising, sadly, I think that's where a lot of families get lost, is that maybe the fathers are absent, or are so busy working, or end up leaving, or whatever the situation is. Thankfully we have our Heavenly Father, but man, that earthly father is extremely important. And I'm so grateful that you've grown in your fathering, and now just to see you really be a good role model for these young men, and to be loving towards them, and just so encouraging and so supportive, that I'm just very grateful.
All right. Hey, I definitely have to pay my wife for those great words. Yeah, so this is takeaway, family. I'm going to run through this real quick, but guys, it's been a journey. It wasn't an overnight thing, but it's a process. But if we don't take it on and do the work, man, we leave it to somebody else to do the work. And I tell you, the teachers at the schools now are going to do it for us. The church family is not going to do it for us. We have to do it as family. So marriage is a place of surrender. For me and my wife, both came from different background, and if you came from the same background, you still raised up in two different households, right? One of the things that we learned, because we desire for more intimacy in our household, was surrendering. Like it's easy to stand on my side of the house and be able to voice my truth, and for my wife as well. Or we can both come to the middle of the room and stand and surrender for the greater cause of our family, for the vision, to go after the vision that God has for our family, right? And so that was something we had to learn to surrender to, because from a Tongan background to an American background, I mean, it was the passing of the ships at night. It's like, woo, just over my head most times, right? But we learn. I mean, that's the beauty of it, is that I started reading the Bible. My spiritual father started. I mean, it took time. Seriously, it really. I'm forever grateful for my spiritual dad. But whew, yeah, I mean, the guy was so patient, and God sent him directly for me to help me to remove the specks from my eyes and rocks from my heart, to be able to see my true identity and how God sees me. And man, it's been an amazing shift for the better. I mean, just my kids were, I mean, if you'd have saw us before, we were like the Brady Bunch, worse. I mean, my kids were at each other's throat, fighting, bad words, and my wife would just, my poor wife, she would just like, what's going on? And then I would have to come, raise my voice, scare them, and you know, apply punishment. Yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. So we've come a long way from sharing that with you. But it just goes to show you, if you do the work, right? Someone is willing. Look, we can't give what we don't have, and someone's willing to give you what you're looking for if you are open to searching it. We can go to takeaway 2. Practical ways to improve your family. Look, one of the things was we started having meals together, and remember when we first started, right? My advice sounded like punishment to my kids, right? Well, let me say that again. My advice sounded like punishment, like I was scolding them, right? And so the beauty of having a meal together, you get to really surrender an opportunity for everybody to speak. And so my kids started speaking about how they felt. And you know, the way I was raised, you shut your mouth and listen and do what I told, and as you told. And here, and look, that was the way my parents were raised. I couldn't blame them. My parents are my hero. So, but I had to learn more. And this is how the Bible teaches us that we should treat one another. And then this is how you should raise someone, right? And having meals together is practical ways. Today, most people don't have the time to do that. But you'd be amazed 1 or 2 times a week what that can do to your family. Right, just coming together and hearing what's going on with them. And it was so funny because hearing my kids speak, it was just always blasting. It was always blasting. You know why they were blasting me and mom? Because we were blasting them, right? And so when we started praying, like my spiritual father started teaching us how to pray over our kids, speak peace and blessings over them. And little by little, I just started seeing God more working through me and my wife. And then because we were doing the work, and then we start seeing the fruit in our kids. We were so excited every time we saw a breakthrough, especially with our oldest son. It was huge. Our youngest, man, gosh, Lord, I'm not gonna. Yeah, we could be here for 2 days, but it's been a blessing, man. I really am grateful to have done the work. Let me stay on course here. Going on date nights, right? Those are good for the parents to be in oneness together. And then as you know, for me, you know, my wife, you know, we have 2 different personalities. I'm more of like stern yet serving. She's more of like, I'm never wrong, right? And stern. And so we collide a lot, but we also surrender fast. You know, we knew that we were in this together. And so we had to learn how to sacrificially love one another, meaning we didn't have to be right. You know, it wasn't a matter about being right or wrong. It was a matter of like, am I really listening to her heart? What is she saying to me, and what does God want me to do? And so, you know, those things, those questions we start asking ourselves, and it's amazing how things turn for us as we progress forward. We'll go to takeaway number 3. it only takes one situation or one encounter with someone to change their lives. That is so true. It's bottom line, right? Like the seed, it just takes one seed to plant. And I tell you, when we started praying over our kids, man, we pray for schools, we pray for sports, we pray for this future spouse, right? That God will have, look, the Bible said he knew us before we were even woven in our mother's womb. That means he already have a plan for each and every one of us. It's our job to seek that plan, right? And so, yeah, I'll leave that one there. We'll go to the next takeaway, number 4. Yes, discipline, the positive and effective communication. That is huge, guys. And I think number 4 and number 5 is almost the same in discipline versus punishment. And so positive communication, I started speaking from a place of empowerment versus a place of tearing my kids down. It's easy because as Polynesians, though, you taught respect and honor. And so respect and honor, that means when somebody's older speaks to you, you be quiet and you honor, right? The challenge is it doesn't give the kids an opportunity to voice or share where they're coming from. So they never really get to learn and upgrade or update their database on how to respond to those things. So most times kids in the Polynesian culture are so suppressed, but yet they honor people, they respect the elders in so many ways. And so, I just encourage you, start empowering you and your kids, and instead of punishment, start disciplining. And then I think that's takeaway number 5. You can go to that. So punishment is like, you don't have to. I used to spank. I'll be upfront with you all, and I spanked my kids. And man, one day I think my oldest had to be like 10 or 11. And I just saw the fear in his heart, and I was like, man, this is the person I love. And my youngest, I said, Lord, just break this spirit of punishment from me. And I started to speak peace and blessings over them, and started talking to them from a perspective of empowerment, right, versus punishing. So my punishments today, I take away phones, right? And so when I take away a phone, I said, hey, because a phone today means the world to kids. And so I said, hey, when you're ready to own up to that situation, come into my room and talk to me, or come into my office and we can talk and work this thing out, right? And so that allows them to think about how to solve the problem. And that's my job as a father, and my wife and I, is helping my kids solve the problem versus just punishing them. Punishing people doesn't allow them to grow. They just keep repeating offenses, right? But when we discipline them, everybody has something they don't want to give away, right? So when you take them away, especially kids with phone, or going to their friend's house, or the weekend plans and things of that nature, so there's a no-go until we work that problem out. And once we work that problem out, then we pray over it. I make my kids pray over it, make sure their heart is clean, and then we move forward. All right, guys, we are coming to our last takeaway here with finances. I think with finances. So that is the takeaway from my family. There's so much more to go, but man, we are so happy from where we are at today. It's truly dynamic. So finances. Guys, we had Mr. Bales. It was so awesome. So he talked about 3 different types of income. One is linear, one is leverage, and one is residual. Linear is like you just flatline. Like they hire you for $5 an hour, and that's all you're gonna make. That's linear, right? Like you just, for 30 years, you're gonna work this. You might get a raise, but it's just gonna be linear, right? You trade time for money in that way. So 80%, I would say 98% of the people, or 90%, are falls into a linear income, right? Leverage income is when you have something else spitting you cash flow, right? Spitting you cash flow, whether you're working or not. Whether you're working or not. That's leverage. Like, for instance, um, movie stars, when they film a movie, uh, you know, once the movie's filmed one time, that every time that movie play, it's leverage for them, right? Purchasing a house. You purchase a house, you rent it out, you're leveraging the house. It pays out, right? A franchise like a 7-Eleven or McDonald's, that's leverage income. But you got to invest something in order for the leverage to happen. That's also like network marketing business. It gives you a system to be able to position yourself in the company that allows you to market a product, sell a product, and then help other people do the same thing. And then you leverage by helping other people, right? You help somebody earn 100,000, the company pays them 100,000, then they pay you 40,000 for helping them. You see that? That's the leverage, right? It's really huge, but that's one person. So imagine if you did that to 100 people, that's 30 times 100 to change your life leverage-wise, right? And you want leverage. You don't want 100% of your income to be coming from you. That's linear. That means you got to get up and go to work in order for the money to come in. You know, it's kind of like employee and self-employee, right? Self-employee they own their own business, but they still an employee of themselves, if that makes sense, right? And then residuals is you work one time and you get paid for it over and over and over, you know, like a songwriter or a movie actor, like the movie scenario I just shared earlier. It goes from leverage to residual, right? Like it's so residual. It's the same concept in the insurance industry. You market a policy one time, that policy after a year continue to pay you when it stays on the book, right? So that's residual income. So like you can be paid for the work you did 20 years ago. Isn't that amazing? That's residual. So you want to find companies and opportunity that gives you leverage and residual. You know, a lot of wealthy people today don't encounter or get involved in anything that does not have leverage or residual. If it's only linear, they don't want nothing to do with it, right? All right, go to takeaway number 2. What makes a successful entrepreneur? Man, Mr. Bell hit it on the head, is be a fighter, not a quitter, right? Like a lot of people quit because we're conditioned to trade time for money. Most people don't want to do the work. They don't want to grow and understand role and become a leader, and knowing that failure is a part of success. It's not something that happens to you while you're pursuing success. It's a process, right? It's a part of it. And no vision. You know, people have no vision for the future. They just, you know, they've already been conditioned. And that's the thing that's so challenging in today's life. And once you are conditioned to fall into certain brackets, then you accept it, right? But as we talked about earlier, from a faith perspective, you really truly see yourself from how God sees you as your true identity. Man, it's so powerful. The challenge is we only see the shame, the guilt, you know, the failure, the doubts. You know, that's all we choose to see. We don't see the abundance. We don't see the promises that He has already spoken over our lives, right? And apply that here to our business or whether it's your job. I mean, there's a lot of people who have high linear paying income jobs, right? It's truly amazing. So go to takeaway number 3. All right. True abundance is not for you to have, but to give back and be a blessing to more people, more kingdom people, finances, more kingdom things in the world. Yeah, that's so true. You know, I think about like the process of life and how most people, like where I came from a third world country, and the way of living is survival, right? Like you survive. And, growing up in the islands before we moved to America, you had to go plant the crops, you had to go fishing, you work the land in order to feed your family, right? And so you had to put into work and to make it work. And you know, coming from there to America, where now you have plethora of jobs to apply for and work, and then you grow to understand that there is you don't have to just settle for a job. There's way greater opportunity to go from just survival mode to success, and then when you experience success, it's like you just don't want success because that's only you want significant. How could you impact other people's lives, right? And that's what we want to strive for, is to be significant. That's the abundance mindset of not just settling for what we're currently encountering today. We go takeaway number 4.
Get a mentor. A mentor is like a time machine. Think about it. You can go in the future from where they were at and how they got to where they are and come back to where you are. And you can skip some of those failures by just applying what they've done, right? So get mentors, get coaches, get people who are going to be in your corner that can push you and stretch you. Because there'd be times where I would consult with my mentor, and he'd say the tough things to me. And I had to realize that I cannot conform. I have to stretch. He would say, hey, you're either growing or you're dying. There is no in between. Right. So he would say things that I just hold on to. I could quote half of the things he said. Like he said, choice is a voluntary act of being that which is preferred. Right. You know what I mean? So like when I get those things from him, I just held on to him so strong, because where else do you go to have opportunities to have a mentor or a millionaire who's willing to pour into you and teach you everything that they've done to be successful? And it's not even about the millions. It's about the journey and who you can become in the process of the attainment of the level that you desire. So if I could just suggest one thing, I would say get a mentor.
Yeah, I think that's our last takeaway there. But yeah, Mr. Bell said it, guys. Don't look, if you're trying to go through life right now by yourself, don't make it hard. It does not. Life does not have to be hard. Pain is temporary. Suffering is a choice. It's optional. You could choose not to suffer, right? And get over yourself, right? Go ask for help. Go find someone that has what you want. Ask them, hey, would you be open to helping me, coaching me? Just give me some wisdom. Look, if that person say no, go through the numbers to find a mentor, somebody. I'm telling you, there are people, they're willing to show you how to do it, how to build wealth and not just trade time for money, how to go through the failure really fast, and how to make things happen. You get to travel the path of least resistance. I wouldn't be where I'm at today in life, and if I didn't have any spiritual fathers in my life, I didn't have any mentors, any coaches in my life, people that really care for you unconditionally, that really love you like it's their own son, and is willing to affirm you and walk with you through the fire. Guys, there are people out there like that. Before, I didn't think that, because I was only in a survival mode mindset. When you're in survival, you're only trying to survive, right? But when you could go find someone that's already significant, or somebody that's already successful, and that if you can borrow their wisdom and copy and model what they're doing, man, you can have the same, if not greater, success than them. I'm telling you, the people at the top, they're not hating on the other people that's at the top. No, they're helping each other continue to keep growing. So don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. That's my last advice to everyone here. Look, don't let the world stronghold weigh on you that you can't ask for help. Don't be too prideful that you can't ask for help. right? Don't be too prideful that your family's suffering because you won't seek help. And if you go out there and help yourself, then now you can give that to other people. So I'm excited. I hope that we have blessed you in the month of September. We look forward to the month of October with our show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to the Triple F Facebook page, DannyCouture.com. We have prepared, Sherry and Virgil has prepared a gift book for practical ways that you can apply that on a daily basis. Here are 21 actionable steps to take. I'm just laughing at myself. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at myself because who would have known that if you'd have told me that I'll be doing this show, years ago, I'll probably tell you go to hell. But I'm so grateful to just be used as a vessel. So we got 21 actionable steps to increase your faith and your and relationship in your family, and then also your finances as well. Like guys, thank you for all the support. Make sure you share it to your social media page, Instagram, Facebook, and look. Let's be a light together, right? If you appreciate the work that we're doing, pass it on to someone. Candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. Take care, take charge, and God bless. Aloha.